Welcome to the Upcycling Madness. Hello, and welcome back to Tears of Joy Creative. In today's video, we're going to be making another Pinterest-inspired remake. And so I have been shopping my local thrift store because I'm not just going to make one, I'm going to make two. One in red and one in blue. And as you can see, this dress is 3 layers of different fabrics. And so for the red one, I'm going to be using this skirt as the top. This is an actual bed sheet I'm using for the middle, and this one will be for the bottom. On the blue, I'm using this for the top, this blue dress for the middle, and this polka dotted one for the bottom. And I'm going to be using this pattern for the base. And so I cut out the front and back pieces, not realizing I should have cut them longer, because I'm not adding the ruffled piece to the bottom of the dress. The one on Pinterest does not have a gathered ruffle, so I recut the front and back longer after sewing the mock-up first to make sure that it fit. And I slimmed it down a little bit, but I'm thinking this is still too full. But I like where it's going. I also think it might need to be a little shorter, but I'm not quite sure. When I recut the longer pieces, I did raise the neckline and the armhole just a bit. The next thing I have to figure out is where to cut the 3 layers. I'm thinking here and here. The first thing I did was to draw a line where the center front section will be cut off, and then open up the front to see if that looked good. I felt it needed a bit more, and then I cut the 2 sections apart. I played around with where I would cut the 3 sections using the picture as a reference, and then just guessing what I thought looked the best. And then I did the same thing with the back section, using the front as a template of sorts. But there was still one thing that I was stumped on. I can't find a back to this dress. I've looked. Every time I click on it on Pinterest, it takes me to eBay UK. And so I'm trying to figure out if this just keeps going down and what I should do. And after much contemplation, I decided to cut straight across and not try to make the sections go down at an angle, which is fine because it's going to look good no matter what I do. Well, that was fun. Now that all my pieces are cut, I have to take all these garments apart. See you in a bit.
The next day.
So now I've got all my garments taken apart. I pressed all the fabric. I even gained a set of pockets from the one red dress that I can use in this red combination. I'm going to be using probably the blue to make some pockets for the blue dress. And now it's time to cut all these pieces out. And after taking all the garments apart, I think I'm going to have enough fabric for all of my sections. So let's see. I also knew going into this project that I would have to play Tetris to be able to cut out all of the sections. I also knew that I would have to put up with having a seam or two cut across some of the pieces, like this skirt that has these godets, but I did manage to fit them all on. Since this fabric was a bit stretchy, I am pinning everything down, and after my first cut, I am loving this even more. And I am super excited to see these dresses come together. I just have to remember to add back in the seam allowances where the sections joined together when I cut them. I'm not gonna lie, that was a little brain taxing. And the other thing I just realized is that I put those pieces off to the side and I need those pattern pieces to cut the blue top. So now I have to go and unpin everything. Oh, the blue top. I knew from just looking at these 2 panels that I was probably not going to have enough fabric, not for the 4 different sections. And after giving it my best shot, I came to the very depressing conclusion, there's not enough. So that means for the top of this garment, I'm going to have to go and find something else because I don't have enough for all the pieces.
A few moments later.
So as I'm cutting out the blue geometric circle dress, I found this label on the back. I thought I had thrown it away. So I actually went and Google searched this label and found this dress on Poshmark, and I just bought another one. So I just have to wait till it gets here to get it finished. Now I know you might be thinking, why did I cut out any of the pieces if I didn't have enough for the 4 sections? I don't know. I was going to figure that out later. You may think I'm crazy, but I'm in love with this geometric print, and just crazy enough to buy another dress just to cut it up. I had absolutely no doubt that I would have enough of this burgundy fabric since it is a bed sheet, and I'm also going to use it for the neck and armhole binding when the dress is sewn together. I was a little doubtful at first with this blue fabric, and I have to sew the sleeves together to make the center front piece, but I did manage to have enough fabric for the other 3 sections. Cutting out this striped red was a bit tricky, and some of the pieces I had to cut short, but since it's the bottom row, it doesn't really matter because I have not decided on the length yet. And lastly, the blue polka dot dress. There was plenty of fabric for the bottom sections, and I'm using the sleeves for the pockets. Well, now that all that's done, my dress that I ordered off Poshmark is here. And so now I can finally cut out the last 2 pieces and get started putting these dresses together. Okay, let's make some dresses. And we're back. I am super excited after seeing all the colors in each row put together. And the way I'm going to sew this together is the 3 sections in 3 rows and then sew the 3 sections together. This pattern is so easy to make as there is basically only a front and a back and no darts of any kind. I'm just serging the edges after sewing the sections together and pressing them flat. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Here's the front. Here's the back. Here's the back. Here's the front. So now it's on to the pockets, which really isn't that challenging. About halfway down the sides, you mark a 5 to 6 inch opening. Sew each pocket piece to the front and back at the side seams. Then pull the pocket out and sew down the side seams, stopping at the top of your pocket opening and starting again just below the pocket opening to finish the side. I then serge off the area next to the pocket, then go back and serge off the upper and lower sides. Whenever adding pockets, you always need to understitch each side of the pocket opening and then top stitch the front side of the pocket opening to keep the inner pocket facing forward. Lastly, I sew the shoulder seams together and serge off the edges. For the blue dress, this is the shape the pockets are supposed to be and not squared off at the top. You just sew each piece to the sides, serge off the area, flip out the pocket, and understitch. Then pin the sides together and sew down the sides, stitching around the pocket. Then go back and serge off the sides and around the pocket. And just like the red dress, I top stitch the front side of the pocket opening and finish up the shoulder seams. Well, now that my dresses are put together, it's time to bind the neck and armholes. So let's go cut some bias. And we all know how to cut bias. Or if you don't know, bias means to cut on the diagonal of your fabric, which gives you the most stretch out of whatever fabric you are using. You just fold the selvage edge over to make a right angle with the grain of the fabric, and the folded edge is your diagonal line or your true bias. This pattern wants me to cut a 2-inch wide strip that you fold in half and press flat. Now I know these two dresses are supposed to be completely upcycled. Unfortunately, I don't have any blue fabric of any kind, any cotton, that I can use to cut for bias for the blue dress. So I had to go to my local fabric store and buy some pre-made bias. But that's okay, I won't tell if you won't. When sewing on the bias strip, you stitch a regular 5/8 inch seam allowance, then trim it down to 1/4 inch. Understitch the bias so it will lay flat, and then turn it to the inside and top stitch it. When sewing bias to the armholes, be sure that the folded edge lays flat and you ease in the seam allowance as you sew. This way, your bias won't pucker when you turn it under. And here's what it looks like on the blue dress. So after trying on the two dresses, I've decided that I love the length as is. So I'm going to serge off the edge and sew a 1/4 inch hem on both. I am so thrilled at the way these two turned out, and now it's finally time for a photo shoot. And for this one, I'm going to the beach! And we're back. What a fun time it was over in Daytona Beach doing the photo shoot. And I am so happy at the way these dresses turned out. The only part that I wish was a little bit different is the red bedsheet fabric that I used here in the middle. It likes to pick up a whole lot of lint. Otherwise, these are so comfortable to wear. I hope this video inspired you in some way and it showed you that there is so much versatility in fabric, that maybe the next time you go shopping at your local thrift store, that you will look at the clothing more as fabric rather than just clothing to wear. Because this kind of sewing project really gives the fabric a whole new life. And I used almost all of the garments that I bought. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see the sewing and creative madness continue.